Starting the coffee with chopsticks using the Vortex method, the only true way to optimize the taste of your coffee. At the molecular level. Good morning, welcome to the Daybreak Show. I am the Sultan. We'll get started. But first, coffee. Actually, Bustelo instant coffee. I'm actually kind of digging it. You get it in the Spanish section of your supermarket. It's just downright good. I like it better than Aldi. I like it better than any of the others. The Taster's Choice, the Nescafe. It actually has flavor. It truly does. Give it a shot, even if you just keep it on hand for like backup coffee. It's actually not bad. It's funny, I made French press coffee, which I love. Made it over the weekend, Christmas weekend. Hope you had a great Christmas weekend. Made it over Christmas weekend, and it seemed like so much work after drinking instant coffee for so long now. It actually felt like work. I guess you can get used to anything after a while, right? I cannot believe I made a comment on Gab. Our immune systems are fearfully and wonderfully made by our Creator. Don't get in the way of doing what it was created to do. And I truly believe that. I've gotten, 4,300 likes on that. Not that I could give a crap about if people like it or not. It just is an indicator to me that it struck a chord. 280 comments, over 1,100 reposts. Many of them just progressive, liberal bitches just defending a vaccine. And I've said just because something was manufactured by a pharmaceutical company doesn't mean that it's medicine or even good for you. The trust is just fucking amazing. If you knew how many drugs got recalled, if you had any idea how many drugs got recalled by pharmaceutical companies based upon their clinical trials, it would blow your mind. This is one of the reasons why I say that this virus narrative is nothing but a geopolitical ploy. 100% by progressive liberals. Progressive liberal politics pretty much ruined all of social media, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, just ruined it. The little bit of breath left in social media has been snuffed out by the whole COVID narrative. Division has happened because of progressive liberal politics. And anything that was still wriggling with life, COVID just completed that division process. What is going to be next? COVID? The vaccine? What is next? What is the next wedge that's going to come in and divide us? Is it going to be a chip? Is it going to be, now we have some of the laws. New York City, this morning, you can't go to work. Same thing with Philadelphia. You can't go to work unless you are vaccinated in New York City and in Philadelphia. There are signs. There are now certificates on buildings saying this company is vaccination compliant or something to that effect. One of my subs shared that with me. Very interesting. More division. Are they going to keep pushing the people until we just fucking blow up and create a revolution? Is that what's going to happen? Are we going to have to just literally burn down the fucking cities and literally flatten every government facility that there is? And tar and feather every fucking politician that there is? Are we going to have to do that? The Republic cucks have done conservative traditional people no good whatsoever. The whole reach across the aisle thing is nothing but a big giant reach around. Never in history has there been such a, how can I put it? There's no difference between the two parties, Democrat and Republican. It's a two-headed snake. Don't kid yourself. For my black subscribers who happen to have traditional values, let me just warn you, you getting lured over to the Republican Party is not a big accomplishment. A lot of Republicans will say, it's kind of like the, well, some of my best friends are black kind of thing. And that in Republican meetings, they will parade you around to show how diverse they are. And you'll be used, and you'll enjoy it for a little bit. Then you'll see that there's absolutely no fucking difference between Republican and Democrat when it gets right down to it. So beware, all of my non-white followers. Beware that you will be used and utilized to show how diverse the Republican Party is. Don't fall for it one freaking bit. It's no different than the Democrat Party that marches and exploits the color of your skin and makes you a victim. One makes you a victim, another one puts you up on a pedestal, neither of which you want. And I know you understand that, probably more than most. Well, it's time for my annual statement of better to be single and wish you were married than to be married and wish you were single. Every year there's somebody that needs to be told that. So with the desire to be married, there's nothing wrong with the desire to be married. It's just how you go about it that can really mess up your life. If marriage is an emotional decision, you're doomed for failure. Doomed. If you take the emotions out of it and look at it as a rational decision, I will tell you this. Probably the number one quality is commitment. Are you able to commit over a long period of time through thick and thin, even when things aren't perfect? Even when your partner doesn't measure up? Are you able to commit? I will venture to say that there is joy in commitment and nothing else. Marriage will always let you down, always. It's filled with letdowns. There's good things, but it's also filled, peppered, sprinkled with letdowns. If you start doing the scorekeeping, like times I felt good in this marriage and times that I got let down, darn, there are going to be times where the letdowns are going to seem to win over. But what keeps you from bailing is your ability to commit. So that when you get to the other side of that crappy situation, when the storm clouds pass, you have joy because you made it through a little bit of a storm. And there's joy in commitment. Not joy just when things are going well. There's joy in commitment. I wrote this little bit of an essay back in 2012, I believe. This was before I read the book, The Haunted Bookshop. And when I read The Haunted Bookshop, it's so funny. I don't know if this is, some people would call this synchronicity. But when I read The Haunted Bookshop, it was almost as if I was reading my own essay on bookshops that I wrote 5 years before I read the book Haunted Bookshop by Christopher Morley. Let me read this to you. That feeling when walking through an old downtown shopping district and you see a used bookstore and you kind of get excited. You walk in and it's a labyrinth of shelves and the floor that's grayish brown, a certain old smell in the bookstore, a cat curled up on a shelf. And because you love books and reading, the person you're with says, how long do you think you're going to be? And you stutter a little bit because you can't give an accurate answer. There's a new room every 10 feet. A guy with a beard and a pipe at an old brass cash register puts an interesting bookmark in your book. He knows where every topic is. And in what looks like chaos is perfectly organized in his head and can take you to the exact book you want. These places are like dollar stores. You never walk out buying one thing. You encounter a staircase, and there's stacked books on each step going up. You get excited as you walk up the steps, knowing that you'll find something interesting. You get to the second floor and discover every room is filled with books. And they even knocked out the wall to the building next door. And there's more rooms where the books go on forever. You get a little anxiety because you know your friend will be back any minute and they're going to say, "You're going to have to come back here by yourself." You even thought to yourself that you might like to have a business like this someday. Didn't you think that? Like when you were in an old bookstore, you thought, man, it would be cool to have a business like this. The guy with the beard seemed to be insulated from the nonsense of the world, be at peace, but he wasn't overly friendly. He was responsive to your inquiries. You looked at the counter near his register and saw a coffee mug with pens, some old campaign buttons, a rubber stamp, and a pad. When's the last time you've seen a rubber stamp and a pad? Ink pad, right? Half a sandwich, an insulated coffee mug. He was so busy that day, he only had time for half his sandwich. I can still see his brown roll-neck sweater with the worn cuffs over the light blue button-down Oxford shirt. Now, this movie that I just described to you that plays in my head when I think about things that aren't there anymore. Every town had a used bookstore. There's two emotions that are involved. One, the excitement you felt when stopping on the sidewalk and looking up and seeing the sign that said used books. And the other emotion is the calm, the relaxation, the peace that you feel and experience when looking back and thinking about that used bookstore. Let me ask you this. Well, I took a poll and I said, if single, unvaxxed, and available, would you date a vaxxed person? 8% said yes, 39% said no, 40% said hell no. Those were the options that I put in the poll. And 13% depends on how attractive they are. Simps. Unbelievable. Anyways, so let's see. 39 and 40 is 79. So almost 80% would say no. They wouldn't. If they're single, unvaxxed, and available, they would not date a vaxxed person. Fascinating. And I think it goes the other way around. If I said, if single, vaccinated, and available, would you date an unvaccinated person? I'm guessing it would be similar. I'm guessing. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should create that poll and see how the different statuses discriminate against a person who is or isn't vaccinated. It would be interesting to see that, right? Maybe I'll do that tomorrow, but I'm going to give this a full 24 hours, this particular poll. Imagine you've gotten fully vaccinated, you make a baby with a woman who is fully vaccinated, then that baby is born and within its first year it gets fully vaccinated. That offspring is screwed, pretty much, and you have no one to blame but yourself. It only takes 1 to 2 generations of this non-medicine. This is not medicine. Don't kid yourself. Just because it comes from a pharmaceutical company doesn't mean it's medicine. And I'm not anti-vax and I'm not anti-medicine. I'm anti-geopolitical ploy. It's very clear what's happening here. Pray that God opens up your eyes to see what's happening here. But it only takes 1 to 2 generations to wipe out a population or to keep them from procreating. I am happy to be a son-loving pureblood and pure sperm. Your seed and your offspring's offspring will make history. Stay the course, make history, and say no to the narrative. It's easier to go along with everything, isn't it? Especially if your job is tied to it, or shopping for food. You know, you're only 9 meals away from anarchy. Keep people from food for 3 days, let's just say 3 days, 9 meals, and you will have a revolution. Well, this was the first Christmas that many of you divorced guys didn't see your kids. The courts don't know any better. They say they do, but they don't. But you are forced to comply, and I know it sucks. I know that. Only those who've been through it know your pain. Been there. I know what it's like. Control your emotions. Talk to another man. Go easy on the bottle. Go easy on the pipe. You're going to be okay. Manage yourself. You've heard me say, don't try to get her back, get you back. Do what you can to stay in touch with your children. But also, the most important thing, sir, is to stay in touch with yourself and manage yourself. It will be the single biggest mind fuck you ever experienced. Divorce and custody will fuck with your head. It will. But you're going to be okay. You're going to get through it. And those 2 lies are going to be there. Number 1 lie that you hear me talk about all the time is you feel like you're the only one in the world going through it. And number 2, that it will never end. Both are false. Do not fall victim to these things. You're going to come out of this okay. I did start my Silent Tradesman YouTube channel. And there are 2 videos that I don't have any sound. And that was because I didn't want to have the sound of talking. One video is just the sounds of my trade. Hair cutting and clippers and razor and that kind of thing. And the other 2, I just basically turn the sound off because talking is not ASMR, so you'll have to just look at those 2 as a visual ASMR, so to speak. But in the future, all of those videos will be pure ASMR and nothing but. I'm not interested in doing anything else with that channel except ASMR, which I happen to love, and it's easy for me to do. So I'm just trying to find the proper equipment to do that with, and subjects who want to be part of that. And if you want to be part of the ASMR videos as a recipient, then just email me. I'm in the Philadelphia area, and we can make that happen. So just reach out to me, gb@georgebruno.com, and we'll get you on the channel. If you have a business and you want me to shout out your business in the comment section, that'll be a different level of compensation. So it would be like advertising, that type of thing. And that would be completely, like I said, a different level of payment. Otherwise, the services that are provided will just be the normal prices at the salon. This Christmas season, now that it is here and on its way out, I just want to recognize those who've said goodbye to a loved one in the past year. And my heart goes out to those who have to look at the empty recliner, the empty seat at the dinner table, or a phone that will never ring with the other person on the other end. This is the first Christmas for many without a dad, a mom, a child, a spouse, a partner, and I know it's difficult. I know that. I don't have any words for you except God's words from Jeremiah, where he says, I will turn their mourning into gladness. I will give them comfort and joy instead of sorrow. That's from Jeremiah 31. So, Merry Christmas to you. Happy New Year. And I completely feel your loss. I feel your loss. And not nearly as deeply as you do. And I know it's hard. I know it's difficult. And with that, finish your coffee, and I'll see you on the next Daybreak Show, your home of sanity, clarity, and reason.
Hi, my name is Erin. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm
Why don't you shut up?